outside the finely manicured lawns and the beautiful old homes, there's this, which not necessarily always bad, but definitely a little bit grittier, a little bit less polished, a little bit less paint, and, you know, trash and miscreants. That's where we like to hang out. So I want to talk to you about true love for a second. Many years ago, I was dating this one girl, and she was great. She was smart, she was sexy, she was romantic, she was everything you would want in a woman. But she had very little aptitude for art. And one day, when I was out waiting for her to get off work, I was sitting at a coffee shop, and I decided to do a little sketching in my sketchbook, because that's what you do in sketchbooks, is sketch, of the local architecture. And it was this Spanish style building that was adjacent to the coffee shop. And so I was drawing the eaves and the window panes and the walls and just nothing. I wasn't drawing the whole building. I was just drawing the parts of the building. And so she walks up to me as I'm doing this. She looks at the sketchbook and she says, "That's nice," but with a question mark on her face. And then she says, "Why would you draw that?" She couldn't fathom why I would draw just a section of a building rather than the entire building. She couldn't understand why it was important to sketch things to understand things like line and art, or perspective and color and shadow. She didn't understand that. She couldn't grasp that. I can't say for sure if that's the thing that led us on the path towards destruction, but I knew in that moment we had a problem, because she didn't have a vision like I had a vision for art. Now, not everybody can see art. Not everybody can understand certain things about art. A lot of people don't get abstract or contemporary art, but they still appreciate it. Now, it wasn't but a few weeks later that that girl and I split up. It was for other reasons, but I do wonder if that had maybe a little bit to do with it, at least in my head. Maybe I'd already sabotaged the whole relationship by that point, perhaps. But 25 years later, I am happily married to a different woman. A woman who not only appreciates art, but appreciates me for all the little details. Okay, sorry for that little segue, but I felt like telling that story. Now, I'm going to the gym up there. Where is it? There we go. I would take you with me, but they don't allow cameras in the room. So I'll see you guys in about an hour. So are we robbing a bank? So I'm heading right now to go meet my friend Sharon of Academy of Handmade. We're gonna lay down some tracks for the next podcast episode. Looking forward to that, hanging out with her. It's always good conversation, always smart things said. Things to learn, people, things to learn. But really, it's about good chat with good friends. This is where I'm going. $5 Monday, happy hour. We're not here for happy hour. We're here to work. Well, it's certainly quiet in here. Hi.
Very quiet in here.
You're gonna be on the vlog.
What?
You're gonna be on the vlog. No, right now. George.
Why is this here?
Okay. So listen, I didn't want to hit the tripod this time. This is take 2. Anyway, so I'm interjecting here real quick because, okay, so let me back up. I filmed a bunch of videos. I filmed all these videos that you're seeing here right now, and I filmed some subsequent over a couple of days. I thought they would intersect well, but that didn't work. So I decided to push those off and make a different video out of that, which will be out later this week, and make this one video all unto itself. Unfortunately, the amount of video was very short and it didn't really have kind of a central focus. So I'm deciding to make this one all about podcasting. And basically I just want to talk to you about a couple of things. First and foremost, I mentioned here in the video that I wasn't sure what was going to happen with iTunes. The show is up on my website, which you can find at makersmake.net, which I will put in the description. But I wasn't sure what was going on with iTunes because they were being really persnickety about getting it up there. Well, it's up. It is up there. It's still not 100% perfect. For some reason, you can't see my episodes. You can see the show, you just can't see the episodes unless you subscribe to the podcast, which, if you're a podcast listener, just go subscribe and you'll see all the episodes there. But this conversation that we're having in this video and the next one, by the time this video goes live, the next one will be up. And so everything is smooth, everything is there. So yay, podcast is going. Thumbs up for that. The second thing I want to talk to you guys about is, man, content creation. I'll tell you what, between this video creation and the podcast, I mean, those two things alone, nothing I've ever undertaken takes quite as long as these two. Video even longer than the podcast, but the podcast still takes a considerable amount of time. And so it is a huge investment to make these things happen. Now, not everybody wants to do both YouTube and podcasting at the same time. That is, it's such a massive undertaking each week, and I'm not complaining at all because I did this to myself. I love every single minute of it, and that right there is actually the key, because I get asked questions all the time about making videos now, about how to do podcasts and how to make it happen, and I'm telling you folks right now, I'm not trying to discourage anybody from stopping, from not doing podcasts, from not doing video. I'm just telling you right now, you probably have no real concept of how much time and energy you are going to put into these areas, whether it's your podcast, your videos, whatever. You have no idea how much time these things take. This 10-minute video can take me up to 6 to 8 hours in total to get together, between the filming and the editing and the publishing and all the other stuff that I've got to do with it. It takes me that long, 6 to 8 hours to get one 10-minute video out. Podcast, a little bit less time. I've kind of learned how to streamline the whole process, but still, it's a 3 to 4 hour process for one podcast episode. I'm just saying that if you are gonna go down this road, do it because it's something you feel in your heart that you want to do, because there is no golden ticket with podcasting or video making, right? Unless you plan on being there for a good long time, doing it consistently over and over and over and over for years and years and years. I might be a bit of a fool or an idiot to think that I can continue to do both for the extended period, but I'm in it. I'm in it, and I'm hoping that they pan out and they do well and they make a platform for me that kind of creates the life that I ultimately want, which would be to, you know, do more of this, have more time to do this, really. Ultimately, that's really what I want. Point being, folks, the stuff that you see, the stuff that you hear from me on the podcast, I just want you to think that if you were thinking, I want to do one just like that, just remember, you are going to have to be invested, fully invested, because there are no shortcuts. It's all going to take a long amount of time, and unless you are totally in it, you are not going to get the results or the reward from it that you think you might get, because it's gonna suck and you're gonna hate it and you're gonna wish you died and you're gonna quit. But by all means, if you want to jump in, go for it. In fact, you can hit me up anytime and I will gladly give you any kind of advice that, you know, that I can possibly lend. Other than, you know, it's gonna take a really long time. Now back to the rest of this video.
It's typically a lemon pie right now. They're about to make it right now, so it's not gonna be ready until later tonight. We do have spumoni, which isn't typically pie, but ours is in the shape of a pie, so we tend to reference it when people ask about the pie.
See? There you go. Is that too bad? Don't worry about that. If that's gonna distract you.
I can still see it through.
Right? Well, hopefully then. Bye. Thanks a lot. I'll share with you stuff and let you know. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Okay, so that was a really, really great podcast. And you can probably find that one, at least on my website for now, until I get this whole podcast thing on iTunes settled. For now, makersmake.net. Now it's time for me to go get the boy.